Hi, mamas. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Today, we're going to go through a basic prenatal flow. I'm currently 29 weeks pregnant with my second baby, and this pregnancy has been so different from my first. My first pregnancy, I felt very energized and I was able to stay active all the way up until 35, 36 weeks. But this pregnancy, I've been pretty tired and I've been resting a lot more. So I designed this sequence really to help you nurture your body and take care of yourself. That is the best thing you can do for your baby right now while he or she is in your womb. And yoga can be a really great tool just to help us arrive into the present moment, to recenter ourselves, and to connect to that motherly intuition that becomes so important once your baby is born. So let's go ahead and begin. I do recommend having props for this practice. That being said, if you don't have props at home, that's okay. I will kind of show you ways to use them and ways that you can modify without them. The props I recommend having are a high quality yoga mat. That sounds so silly, and I practiced on a Ross mat for the first, 3 years of my yoga journey, and that was great. But I really do think that when you're pregnant, having a high quality yoga mat that has enough cushion and has a reasonable grip on it is really important. So this is a Manduka Pro mat, and that's the one that I personally like to use. Other props that I have is a strap. This can be a belt or a towel if you don't have a yoga strap. And then 2 yoga blocks. And the yoga blocks I like are these cork blocks, but you can also get a black block from Manduka that is also really nice. And these just have, a nice firm grip. And when they come down onto the mat, they don't slip. And that's going to be really important for you as we move throughout the flow. That being said, if you don't have blocks, no worries. And then the last thing that is going to be pretty essential for this practice is going to be some sort of blanket or cushion. So right now I am sitting up on a bolster, and that might be something that you have at home. And if you don't have a bolster, then perhaps you use a blanket or a pillow in order to substitute for that. All right, let's go ahead and begin. So, coming on to your hands and your knees, and then coming into a comfortable cross-legged position. So as you can see, when your hips hit the ground, sometimes the knees are lifted. That's why I recommend propping your hips up on a blanket or a bolster, just to give yourself a little bit of extra cushion. Good. When you're ready, close your eyes. Feel your knees start to slope downward from your hips. Your sitting bones root down into the surface beneath you. Your chest start to lift a little bit higher towards the sky as your shoulder blades glide down your back. And take a few cleansing breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. Allow the back of your neck to lengthen. Your eyebrows to soften. And slowly just begin to become aware of your breath. And go ahead and take one hand to your baby's home, onto your belly, and then one hand onto your heart. And take a deep breath into your palms, elevating your chest, connecting the beating hearts between your body and your baby's body. And as you exhale, let it all go. Just setting the intention to be here now, to take care of your body, to calm your mind, and to arrive into the present moment. And go ahead and lower your hands onto your knees. You're going to start with some Sufi rolls. So start to draw a big circle with your chest over one knee and then towards the other. And then just start to draw some big circles with your chest moving in space. And this might feel really good to help break up some tension in your hips and in your shoulders. And move in the opposite direction. So as you inhale, reach your arms up overhead. And then exhale, lower your right hand down to the side. And then go ahead and lean on over to the right. Press down into your bottom palm, come all the way back up to center, and then lower your left hand down and lean on over to the left. Inhale, come up to center. Interlace your fingers here and flip your palms up towards the sky. As you do this, feel the sides of your waist grow tall. The sitting bones root down into the surface beneath you, so you create an anchor in your tailbone. And then see if you can just soften your shoulders away from your ears so your neck can easily move from side to side. And now open your arms wide. Bring your hands onto your knees. Good. Come onto your hands into your knees. And if you have a blanket, you can place a blanket underneath your knees if your knees are feeling particularly sensitive. I know sometimes during pregnancy, our joints get a little bit achy, and I actually really highly recommend that because we'll be lowering our knees to the floor quite a bit. If you have blocks, you can place your blocks underneath your hands, just like so, and that'll just kind of lift the floor up a little bit, and that'll be really helpful as we move into our lunges. But if you don't have blocks, that's okay. You'll just place your hands down on the mat. And so you're going to kind of look for a little bit of a box shape. You can always open your knees a little bit wider than hips width and distance, especially while you're pregnant. Toes tucked under or toes untucked, it doesn't really matter. Just know what feels good for you. And as you inhale, you'll pull your heart forward through the gateway of your arms. And you don't want to drop baby too low. You want to kind of keep the sides of your waist hugging in as you broaden your collarbones. And then as you exhale, press down into your hands and round your upper back. And inhale, chest pulls forward. And then exhale, round. And these pelvic tilts are just really great for getting baby actually into the optimal birthing position. It's really nice to do these on a daily basis, weeks before you're due. And it's also a nice way to open up your shoulders and lengthen your spine. A gentle way to open up the thoracic spine, your upper back, while relieving pressure that could be accumulating around your sacrum and tailbone. Let's say 2 more. Nice. Now lengthen your spine. And then go ahead and tuck your toes under, lift your hips to the sky into downward facing dog. I'm going to step your feet wide so you're in a wide down dog. You can rock your hips from side to side, kind of opening up into your side body. Again, the props are nice just to kind of lift the hands up. You want to also be lifting your forearms up and rumping your triceps down so that your head can easily move from side to side. And you'll go ahead and walk your hands back to meet your feet. And again, your feet are a little wider than your hips, lengthen your spine. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees, roll up to stand, drop your tailbone as you kind of curl the spine all the way up. Head is the last thing on top. Inhale, reach your arms up. Then exhale, pull your hands to meet at your heart. Right. Bring your feet about hips width and distance. And then inhale, reach your arms overhead. As you exhale, forward fold, but bring your hands down to your knees or to your shins, even your thighs. And then as you inhale, lengthen your spine, try to engage your legs. And then as you exhale, fold, round your upper back. Bend your knees, roll to stand. Inhale, arms reach up. And then exhale, hands to heart. Good. Really press down into your feet as you inhale, reach your arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Lengthen your spine as you breathe in. And then exhale, drop the crown of your head down. Bend your knees, roll to stand. Press down into your feet to reach your arms up. Exhale, hands to heart. Good. Inhale, reach your arms up. And then exhale, forward fold. Lengthen your spine as you breathe in. And then as you exhale, walk your hands forward back into downward facing dog pose. I'm going to bring your feet a little closer together so you can step your right foot outside your right hand. You'll lower your back knee down to the ground just to kind of lengthen that left psoas and hip flexor. You can bring your hands higher onto those blocks if you need. Open your chest forward. Soften your eyes, your forehead and jaw. Breathe deeply into your outer right hip. Good. Now pull your hips back so that your hips are over your left knee, or somewhat like that. You might have to slide your right heel forward a little bit. And then I actually do like to bring my blocks up a little bit higher. As you flex the ankle, pulling your toes back, again, reach your heart forward. Shoulder blades towards your hips. And take another breath. Nice. And then just go ahead and bring your right knee next to the left. Good. Lower your blocks back down. Tuck your toes and lift your hips up and back again, downward facing dog. And then coming into side two, step your left foot outside your left hand and lower your back knee down. And as you do this, again, bringing your hands up as high as they need to go. Deep breaths. Now pull your hips back over your right knee as you straighten your left leg out. You can slide your left heel forward a little bit. Again, maybe your knees are on a blanket just to provide some extra cushion. And I like to come up a little bit higher on the blocks just to give yourself a little bit more support. Chest reaches forward. Breathing in and out through your nose. And go ahead and bend your left knee. Bring your left knee next to the right. Tuck your toes under. Come and stand up on your knees. Squeeze your outer hips. Lower your right hand to your right heel, or you can take your block just to give you a little bit more height. Lower your right hand to that block and then reach your left arm towards the sky. Nice. Now bend at your hips. Bring that block to the other heel. And then stretch and open up the back. And just do that a few more times. You call this like a dancing camel. Opening up your side body and also getting a little bit of a heart opening. Say one more time. Side to side. Good. And then go ahead and take those blocks, move a little bit forward. You're going to open up your feet, and then you might take those blocks, place them in between your feet, one or two, really depending on what feels most comfortable for you. I'll probably use one. And then if you have that strap or towel, anything really, that resembles a strap, go ahead and grab it. And just do some opening of your shoulders. So if you have a long strap, this one is very long, then you just kind of want to make a big loop with the strap. Like that. And then I actually might do it like this. So the tail's not hanging down. I'm going to take the strap like this, just a little bit wider than your shoulders. And then pull that strap nice and wide. As you inhale, reach your arms overhead. And then exhale, bend your elbows and draw the strap down. Inhale, reach your arms overhead. And then exhale, hands forward. You're just going to do that a few times. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, bend your elbow. Inhale, arms up. And exhale, hands forward. You can do that maybe 3 more times. And then you can move your strap over to the side. Go ahead and remove the block from in between your feet. I'll move my blocks to the side for now. You can use your blocks underneath your hands if you'd like, and come back up onto your hands and to your knees. Sunbird pose, across diagonal balance. I like to have my toes tucked under for this one. Shoulders on top of wrists, palms pressing down. You'll send your right foot back so that the right leg is elevated up off the mat. And for some of us, we're already feeling this because our ligaments are stretching and we're actually trying to work on a little bit more stability in our body, really pulling everything in towards the midline and strengthening the areas that need support. You're going to drop your right hip a little bit as you roll your right inner thigh to the sky. And you might stay here, or reach your left hand forward in a handshake position. And try not to drop the belly too far towards the floor. Press into your right hand and feel your outer obliques hug in towards baby. And supporting your spine. And hold for one more breath. Good. Lower your left hand down and your right knee. Switch. Send your left foot back. Try to drop your left hip so the left hip isn't open. So your inner thighs are squeezing in. Press into your left hand. Reach your right hand forward. Draw your right shoulder blade down your back. And then try to pull everything in towards the midline. 3 deep breaths. Good. Lower your right hand and your left knee down. Cat-cow. Inhale, open your chest. And then exhale, round. I should really say cow-cat because this is cow. And then exhale, round, cat. And then lengthen your spine forward. Walk your hands forward a little bit. You're going to thread your right arm underneath your left shoulder and lower your right shoulder down. So if that's not super comfortable, grab your bolster or your blanket and kind of bring the floor up a little bit closer to you and reach your left hand forward or keep it forward like here. Come back up onto your hands and to your knees. And then switch. Bring your left arm underneath your right shoulder. And walk your right hand forward. And this is just a really nice, safe twist for your upper back. That keeps baby's home nice and open. Come back up onto your hands and to your knees. Downward facing dog pose. So in downward dog, if you're new, you want to turn your hands slightly out so the forefingers are parallel. Root down into your inner palm. Arms are nice and strong. Collarbones are broad. As you tuck your toes, lift your hips up and back. Downward facing dog. And I like to pedal out the feet a little bit just to get that stretch into your calves. Again, maybe feet a little bit wider than hips width and distance as you stretch your lower back. Now look forward, come high on your toes, bend your knees, but you might have to bend your knees kind of wide like a frog. And then step your feet behind your wrists so they're hips width and distance. Lengthen your spine. And then exhale, fold. Now bend your knees and roll all the way up to stand. Nice. Bring your feet hips within distance and come into chair pose, so bend your knees. Drop your tailbone a little bit, lengthen through the sides of your waist. And then press all the way up to stand and bring your hands into your heart. Now if you have a block, place that block in between your thighs. And this is really good stability work. So I've been doing yoga for a long time and my body is really flexible, which means that the added relaxant that rushes through your body when you're pregnant makes you more flexible. So for me, I actually need to stabilize and strengthen more than open up. And you might be that same way, or maybe you need the opening. But either way, just a little bit of stability work is going to help you support your joints as we flow and open up. So how do we do that? Pressing your feet down into the ground, pulling your outer hips, your glute medius in, creates a lot of space in your lower back, and squeezing your inner thighs. Those guys get really lazy over time as our toes turn out. So you want to squeeze your inner thighs and just hug that block. Bend your knees into chair pose. I should have lowered it a little bit more. Good. And then squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And as you squeeze, you'll feel your lower back broaden a little bit. You'll also feel the sides of your waist hug in. As you do this, lengthen from your hips to your fingertips. And then just nice and easy, press back up to stand. Breathe back into chair, inhale. And then as you exhale, squeeze that block. Good, and you can lift your pelvic floor up. Good, 2 more times. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Good, now go ahead and take that block and move it to the side. Let's turn that into a little bit of a flow. Bend your knees. And then exhale, forward fold. Now lengthen your spine as you breathe in. And step back into downward facing dog pose. Again, your hands can be on blocks here. You're going to step your right foot and spin your back foot flat. Come into warrior 2 and open up your arms to the side. This time you're going to straighten out your right leg. And I like to shorten my stance in Trikonasana triangle pose just so I have a nice stable triangle. These long, tall pillars of support for your legs. Tilt your right hip back so you feel your right hip crease fold. Maybe your right knee slightly bends because you can see I'm hypermobile. I can really push that knee back. Some of us can, some of us, that's not really an issue. So a slight bend is sometimes helpful just to wrap your right hip back. Then shift forward and lower your right hand down to a block outside your right foot. Again, if you don't have a block, you'll just bring your hand to your shin and then reach your left arm to the sky. And you can flex your hand and bring your hand towards your left hip. Maybe drop your right ear to your right shoulder. Or if you want, you can draw some big circles with your left arm in space. Some of you can even bind this arm and open up your chest. Press into the mound of your right big toe. Spread your toes. Reach your left arm overhead. Bend your right knee. Warrior 2. And then lower your hands down. And step back into downward dog. Switching sides, step your left foot outside your left hand. Back foot spins flat and then arms open into warrior 2. Straighten out your left leg. You can shorten your stance a little bit. Shift your left hip back. Just make sure your left hip crease is folding. Maybe a slight bend in your left knee. Left hand outside the foot to a block or to your shin. Press down into your feet. Right arm to the sky. And you can just stay here. Sometimes it feels nice just to stretch the wings of our shoulders wide. Or you can flex your hand towards the sky, reach your right hand towards your hip, and lower your left ear to your left shoulder, feeling that neck stretch. Or you can draw some big circles. If you want to challenge, follow your thumb with your gaze. Maybe you come into that half bind. Nice. Re-extend your right arm towards the sky. If it's not there already, come back into warrior two. Let's bring your hands to your hips. Straighten your left leg and turn your heels in and your toes slightly out, coming into temple or goddess pose. Bend your knees so that they're right out over your ankles. I'm going to lower your right shoulder down. Again, a nice safe way to kind of twist and open up your shoulders. Rocking from side to side. Towards the end of my last pregnancy, I couldn't get enough of this. Shoulders were so tight. And one more time. And then keep your knees bent. Feel the burn. Spread your toes, press into the mound of your big toes. Bring your hands forward, interlace your fingers. And just kind of sit down and then do 10 little baby lifts for me. Squeezing your outer hips in. So again, just kind of strengthening your legs as much as we open them. Halfway there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sit down low, hold. I know you got this. And then reach your arms up. Then exhale, hands to heart. Good. Toes turn in, heels slightly out, so a little bit different. Prasarita Padottanasana. Folding at your hips. Lower your hands down, maybe onto blocks. Maybe your hands walk back. And you can drop the crown of your head down. If you're towards the later end of your third trimester, you can bring your hands even onto a chair. And the chair will feel really good in this pose, just to give your baby a little bit more space. And you'll be resting a little bit like this. Again, just honoring where you are in your pregnancy at this point right now. Go ahead and lengthen your spine. Keep your left hand down, reach your right arm up. And the other side. Right hand down, reach your left arm up. And lower your left hand down. Lower the crown of your head down, bring your hands to your hips, press into your feet to come up to stand. So important to use your legs to stand up instead of your lower back. Press your feet down into the earth, strengthen your legs, and then pull your chest up, and that'll save your lower back. Both during pregnancy and after baby is born. All right. And then step your feet forward to the top of your mat. All right, so we're going to come into our prenatal squats. Again, if you have a blanket or a bolster, I'll face you for these. You can bring your heels onto that bolster, onto that blanket. If your baby is in the optimal birthing position, you can squat all the way down into Malasana. Knees bend, just like this. If your baby is breech or you're having twins, then that's not going to be optimal for you. It's also going to feel just very heavy on your pelvis. You're just going to lower down halfway, just to here. You can bring your hands here. All right, so we're going to do 10 of these all together. Bring your hands to your heart, toes turn slightly out. Good. Inhale, reach your arms overhead. And then as you exhale, bend your knees and sit down into Malasana. Release your lower back. Press down into your feet, circle your arms wide. Exhale. So you're either stopping here, or if you can, come down. A couple more. I'm just going to try to get into a rhythm. And say last one or two more. Come all the way up to stand. Nice. Feet in. Hands to heart. And let it go. Nice. It's a great way to build strength in your legs and also open up your hips. Nice. So let's go ahead and come into a balance. Bend your knees a little bit. Bring your hands onto your hips. Standing onto your right foot, come onto your left toes, open up the hip, and bring your foot into tree pose. So for a lot of us, tree pose is going to be here. If you have more space, you can bring it higher. Bring your hands to your heart. You can reach your arms up tall if you like. And just take a few deep breaths as you focus your gaze on one still spot. And if you have that chair, you could always support it by holding a chair. Nice. And then switch. Go ahead and lower your left foot down. I'm mirroring you, so you'll be on the other foot. Come up onto your right toes, open your hip, foot to your calf. Actually fits quite nicely there. Or you'll bring it up to your inner thigh. Just not onto your knee. Hands into your heart. And the reason for that is that the knee is only supposed to move forward and back. So you don't want to put pressure on it from side to side. Hands to your heart or hands to the sky. You can stay here or again, hand to a wall or hand to a chair. And if you fall, no big deal. Like I tell my daughter, get right back up. Nice. And then go ahead and lower your right foot down and shake it out. All right, nicely done. Feet hips within distance. Take a nice deep breath and reach your arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Lengthen your spine. And step back into downward dog. And go ahead and lower your knees down. Good. And then go ahead and grab your blocks again. Blocks on the outside of your heels. So option 1 is just to use your blocks. Option 2 is to actually place your bolster on top of your blocks. And feel your outer hips once again. Squeeze in. Imagine as though that block is in between your thighs. Bring your hands onto the bolster, onto the blocks. Pull your shoulder blades down your back and lift your heart up. Soften your eyes. Breathe deep. Keep breathing. And take one more breath. Squeeze your glutes and come all the way up. Nice. I'm going to move your bolster and props to the side. Awesome. So the hard work is almost over. This is perhaps the hardest work that we will do. Let's do just a shoulder opener to begin. Open your arms out wide. Again, you can bring a block in between your heels and sit up on that. It might feel really nice because we'll be on our knees. If Virasana or Vajrasana, either one, is not comfortable for you, then just sit in a cross-legged position. Open your arms wide, right elbow over left. Give yourself a hug. And first just feel the shoulder blades broaden and widen on your back. If you have more room, wrap up your forearms and hands. Close your eyes. And try to draw your forearms away from your face. Feel your sitting bones root down to lengthen your spine. And then switch, open up your arms. Exhale, left elbow over right first. Just kind of feel your shoulder blades. Give yourself a hug as you are doing a lot of hard work right now. You deserve it. And then open up your arms. Nice. So I'm going to sit in a cross-legged position, because that's where I feel the most comfortable. I'm not going to lie, it's going to get a little uncomfortable for a reason. So if this is your first baby, labor and delivery, for some of us it's hard and some of us it's not. I would say for the majority of us it's pretty transformational process, but one of the things that we do is move through contractions. So these exercises are here to help you build a little bit of stamina, and not like stamina like running a race, because it's a marathon, it's not a race. You have to pace yourself. And when we kind of learn how to pace ourselves here on the mat, it'll help to train our minds for when the actual event happens. So these pick-me-up exercises are here just to kind of help you to really build that mental strength that you need to make it through your labor and delivery. So what you're going to do is you'll place your arms out to the side, shoulder blades down your back. And maybe I'll face you just so you can see a little bit more clearly. And arms out, shoulder blades down your back. And you're just going to flip your hands. This is it. You're just going to do this and close your eyes. Maybe you turn on some nice music or just count your breaths. And as your eyes close, you just feel your palms lift up and down. And after about, a minute or two, you'll start to feel your arms tire, your shoulders tire, especially if you're tired. And it's very common, but you can do this. You are so much stronger than your mind gives you credit for. Our minds are such powerful tools that are really here to keep us safe, to keep our bodies operating optimally. And sometimes we have to push past our comfort zone. And just know that we can persevere through most any challenge. that this baby inside of you chose you to be his or her mother. And in fact, you are already transformed into a mother just the moment this seed is planted inside of your baby and you start to build this home that we call the womb. So breathe down into your belly. Soften your shoulders and keep going in just another 30 seconds. You got this, mamas. My arms are burning too. You can do it. Maybe in these last few seconds you actually get stronger. Dive into that well of strength within you that is able to just go a little longer. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift your arms up. Arms up, arms up, arms up. Soften. Imagine a waterfall of energy just pouring over the crown of your head, down through your fingertips, down into your belly, and out through your hips. And bring your palms together. Draw your hands into your heart. Now I know that's not easy, but I'd highly recommend doing those on a regular basis just to train your mind and to return to that beautiful phrase, you can do this. All right, now starting to cool down. I like to keep that bolster or blanket underneath my hips just to keep the hips elevated. Go ahead and send your feet forward out in front of you. Take the sole of your right foot to the inner left thigh. Frame your chest over the space between your legs. And then go ahead and lower down. And you can stay here or you can lower down to your forearms. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. Just softening where you can. Often around the forehead, the jaw, and your shoulders. You might start to lengthen out your exhales here. And take one more deep breath in. And exhale, long breath out. Coming all the way up to seated. And then switching sides. Send your right foot forward. Take the sole of your left foot to the inner right thigh. And again, kind of just adjusting the stance to what feels good in your body today. And walking your hands inside of your right thigh. If you have those blocks, you can always bring the floor up to meet you. Taking a few deep breaths. then slowly come back up onto your hands. And bring the soles of your feet together. And let your knees open wide, setting up for Baddha Konasana. And you can support your Baddha Konasana here and place your blocks underneath your thighs if that feels good. Take a deep breath in. And then exhale, start to reach your fingertips forward. Imagine as though your breath could move up and down your spine. Breathing all the way down into the base of your pelvis and all the way out through the crown of your head. Feeling this wave-like motion move across your body as you release and unwind. And take one more breath. And come all the way back up. And set yourself up for Shavasana. So you can either lay on your left side, maybe a pillow underneath your head or in between your legs. It's recommended you lay on your left side while you're pregnant. Or if you have these props, then I'll show you how to set up kind of a supported Shavasana. You'll make a T with your blocks that looks like this. And then you'll place that down on your mat. Place your bolster or a sturdy pillow, like a ramp, on top of it. And then just go ahead and lay yourself all the way back. Letting that top block support your head. Lengthen your tailbone down. And do some sways with your knees. Or send your feet forward. Your toes open to the side. Your hands face the sky. And your shoulders drop away from your ears. Take a deep breath in through your nose. And exhale, long sigh out. And once again, just imagining as though your breath was an ocean wave washing over your body. Cleansing and releasing and letting go of anything that you no longer need as it rinses out through the soles of your feet and goes back out into the ocean, the vast ocean beyond. Allowing you to fully sink into this state of final rest and relaxation. To give your body this time to replenish itself. To nourish your body from the inside out and also just bathe in these final moments to calm the waters of your mind. Softening around the forehead, the back of your eyes, into your jaw. Releasing the tongue from the roof of your mouth. Softening across your shoulders and into your arms, your belly and your lower back, down through your hips and thighs and knees and shins, and all the way out through the soles of your feet and the tips of your toes. Feeling yourself fully supported by the surface beneath you, held, cradled in Mother Nature's arms. You are safe. You are supported. Repeating to yourself, I am safe and fully supported. Breathing in and letting go. We'll end the recording right here today, but feel free to stay here for as long as you need in order to feel fully replenished and revitalized. Thank you so much for joining me here today on the mat. It's been an honor to guide you. Wishing you a blissful rest of your journey to motherhood. Namaste.